Hey everyone, we're going to be taking a review at the Playmates Godzilla Final Wars 2004 6-inch figure. And previously, I have heard a lot of people saying, this figure sucks, this figure is an abomination to Godzilla figures, this thing is just horrible. And I'm going to be perfectly honest here. I really thought I was going to hate this thing. But after having it in hand, messing it around with it a little bit, I do think that this is probably one of the better Playmates figures. Now let me explain. The head here is the most controversial part, mainly because of the eye placement. And I will agree that the eye placement is kind of jarring and it really does not look good. But I would go ahead and say if the eyes were a bit bigger and they were much more lowered down, then they would have looked really good. The mouth paint it's basic for Playmates. I mean, we've come to expect this kind of paint job, so it's nothing really too spectacular. Though I will say the teeth sculpt itself is really nice. The tongue does have some sculpted details in there. Top of the mouth's just plain gray. The fingernails and the toenails are really good, though. Even though they're basically painted with no shading whatsoever, it's still really nicely applied there. But I do worry about paint chippage, though. Something to note here that actually on the chest here, you can kind of see it. Come on, zoom in. Okay, there we go. Okay, sorry, I'm doing all this live, so come on. There we go. You can kind of see that the plastic is a little bit flaky, which means this thing wasn't properly molded. Yeah, at least my figure, anyway. The main body's detail is very soft, but you can still tell it's there. The toenails are very well applied, in my opinion. Yeah, it's kind of sloppy, but nothing too bad, I would say. We have a nice white grayish spray going on the dorsal fins. There is some paint chippage right here, and keep in mind this was out of the box. It was present in my unboxing, so not necessarily my fault. And it goes all the way down to this portion of the tail, where from here to here it's all gray. So, or I guess the basic color gray. So in terms of color, he is certainly basic. I really like how he has blue pupils though, and orange eyes, just like the bigger version. So I guess we might as well move on to the articulation section. He can look a full 360 at the head. He has movement at the biceps. Oddly enough, they're the biceps and not the actual shoulder. I mean, you'd think there'd be a Final Wars figure that does that, but no. You have movement in the legs. They're a bit tight, but honestly, nothing too bad. Same with this leg. And you don't have movement here, but you do have movement when you plug it in. Also, by the way, this comes disattached out of the box. There's no other accessories. So, yeah, just kind of something to keep in mind. Now, you might be wondering, why did I bring in the big Playmates and the big Bandai figures? Well, I'm going to address something that I feel like people are getting the wrong idea about. People are saying that these two figures in specific are completely different molds. That is actually incorrect. Why? Because, or at least in terms of like the source, it's incorrect. Why? Because this figure, I've already like rest my case that this is like a retool or remold of this, and this is actually a remold / retool of this. It's basically they took this figure, sized it down, and actually did some modifications to it. And to prove that it's actually modifications, you have subtle details like this leg pointing much more forward than this leg going back. Well, it's actually the opposite way on the 6-inch figure. And also, the tails go in different positions. So if I could bring them this way. There we go. So you have the tail going from there to, it kind of goes to the left. This figure goes to the right. And also the back is a big thing. You can see that the back is like fully done well, while this does have some gaps. And I've heard some people say, oh, it's missing some spines. That's not true. If you actually count the amount of dorsal fins that are on each of these figures, you will see that they're at least close to the same amount, if not the same amount. And the head is probably the biggest modification too, as that not only do they feature the same details, but they also feature the same paint applications. Again, the same coloring on the tongue. Sorry, I'm doing this all live again. Same mouth paint, same eye paint, everything's the same. And it's especially apparent in the feet, they're the exact same. And the arms are the exact same. So, for any people saying that these are all different molds, no. They're all based off the same exact thing, which is his mold. So basically what we're dealing with here is we're basically dealing with a remold of a figure. Go figure. And from left to right, here we have the rest of the Classic Series line that I actually own, with Destroya, Gigan from Final Wars, which, by the way, these two scale really well together. I know he's like 120 meters, which he's 100 meters, but that's like really bad scaling. In the movie, they were the same height. Come on, Toho, fix up your scales. We have Space Godzilla and Kong Skull Island, or I guess Kong from Kong Skull Island. Also, while I have Kong Skull Island up here, I actually... Okay, many people have been saying his head is on a ball joint. Come on. Head. Nope, it's a hinge. We were wrong. Yep. So, as a whole, this guy is, like, honestly really cool. I would admit that the eyes are a bit of a distraction, but honestly, it's not too bad because I've gotten used to it, and this guy is honestly really cool. I'm really happy that I finally own a 6-inch Final Wars Godzilla, even if it ain't the best example, because part of me really wanted the Bandai vinyl, but that thing is like so expensive. Yes, I know people find it for like really good prices, but honestly, vinyls are just not my thing. Despite this guy being a vinyl, I don't know. Anyways, do I recommend him? If you can find him for a good price, yeah, honestly, go right ahead. But honestly, you're probably better off. You know what? Screw it. You might as well get him. Anyways, that's all I have to say for now. See you guys next time, and peace.